So one thing I did want to touch on, we mentioned it already and talked a little bit about, us with the hurricane. Obviously Hurricane Helene, thankfully for us, went just to the east of us.
Yeah.
Like I honestly don't even know if you could say we got any rain off of it.
Yeah. It was windy. It was
Yeah,
windier than
definitely the wind. It was blowing pretty good, but it really never. It was cloudy, it was cooler, and it was windy, but it never really rained.
Right.
And here we are, like you could get in the car and drive 2 hours east, and they got a foot of rain,
right,
and 100-mile-an-hour wind. So we understand the whole thing with hurricanes. We've been through. I mean, our last, I would say, major one was, I guess, Ivan and Dennis.
Yeah,
came through back to back, 05, 06.
Nope, 04, 05.
04, 05. Okay, well, I was telling Tennyson, my son, about that. I guess I told him wrong. I need to correct on that. Anyway, our senior year of high school, we missed 5 weeks of school because of Hurricane Ivan. And then turned around right after we graduated. Like 2 weeks later, Hurricane Dennis came through. And then, anyway, so we know, it's tough. It's aggravating.
It's weird waking up Friday, taking the kids to school, and, our lives pretty much going on normal, but knowing, like you said, people 2 hours, to the east of us, have had that literally one of the
worst nights of their life.
and waking up to maybe not even waking up. Maybe they've been awake the whole time because you don't go to sleep when it comes through at night like that. But their day, that day is their life has been significantly altered. The plans that you had for the weekend or next week or whatever, all of a sudden kind of take a back seat to making sure your family, your community, your own house and business, whatever it may be, are
safe, making sure you just got to make sure you got a generator and you got gas, that you got water, food, and it's just, you don't think about how much you take that stuff for granted and how difficult it can be.
Really
when
puts
it comes
in perspective how fortunate we are as a society to have all the the luxuries we have and that we think of as just basic goods, right? Having, water and food kind of at our disposal. So all that to say is we are certainly thinking of all those affected, and have been there before. It's been a long time since we've been that severely impacted, but certainly we know what it's like, and, hope and pray, for the best.
It's also crazy how widespread, I suppose, like, like when Hurricane Ivan, and I know Katrina was different, went through New Orleans, and that was huge. But our storms that have come through here, Ivan, Dennis, Aaron, and Opal back in the 90s when we were kids, it was local to where it hit, plus out of 100, maybe 200 miles.
A lot more compact.
And confined to the coast. Yeah. And this one, Helene, is just like the whole Big Bend area of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even Tennessee. It's just crazy how, I guess the significant area of problems is the Asheville, Western North Carolina area.
Never would have expected that from a storm coming in, on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah. Crazy. I know you've reached out, like a lot of our drivers. We knew we were gonna be facing some issues, and we have a race this weekend coming up at Talladega. So I know you've been reaching out to drivers. Also, I saw the Livonia track that we've gone to both this year and last year. I saw they had significant damage.
Swainsboro.
Excuse me. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's funny about Livonia is I remember we were talking about Saturday night. Livonia would being right near Atlanta, having issues, and they were racing.
Yeah. They
had like 100 cars there.
Yeah, they dodged.
It was Swainsboro that had the major issues. Anyway, I know you've talked around a little bit. You got any updates? I guess drivers wise, are they all going to be able to make it to Talladega?
So that was the big thing is, I guess it took over the weekend. We kind of realized initially. I talked to Adam Stewart at Talladega Short Track on Friday. And neither of us, I think, realized how widespread it was. The damage. And I was like, he didn't get any rain, or didn't get much. Kind of they missed it, kind of like we did. Mm-hmm. So we thought, everything's good. And then you see, kind of, all the video and news updates coming out, and from
you slowly areas, Saturday and Sunday realize how bad this was.
So there was some concern there. I'll be honest, our race director, Travis Scott, lives in near Augusta, kind of in that area, just crossed in South Carolina. Some of our officials are up in the Greenville-Spartanburg area, that's actually where our series truck and trailer are. So it became a concern.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I ain't even thought about that new truck. I guess it made it through.
It's fine. The road to where it stays is messed up pretty bad. So they've been told it'll be fixed today or tomorrow, the road. But as it stands now, we're kind of, what do we do to get it?
Our truck and series trailer are.
And that's where all our four-wheelers for the series staff,
radios,
all our radios, all our equipment. So and he works for the
Travis.
Travis. So that's the other thing is a lot of our staff are first responders. We have 3 or 4 people on our series staff that are firemen or paramedics. And so there was some concern over, especially Travis being kind of in charge of our race day with the series side. Is he going to be able to be there? Because he was immediately put on kind of, hey, you're
you're here till we tell you can go home.
It looks like he's going to be able to make it. Most of that our staff, except for the one who Travis's brother Tyler, who drives the truck and brings it from his place. He works for the road, basically the county road.
Oh goodness, I bet he's
busy. He's not going to probably be able to get away, but we're figuring it out. So point being is, that all kind of realization came, and then so Monday, kind of start calling. I think Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night or maybe it was Saturday night. I saw the post from Swainsboro. You mentioned. I would say that I've seen the most damage, amongst racetracks. I haven't. Actually, it's funny. I say it's funny. It's ironic. I talked to JJ, the track owner, who took over him and his wife
at Swainsboro
last year. The day before the storm, they were offering their track
for people to come up and park. I think I saw that.
Might have been a couple of days before, but then they realized, this storm's coming this way. So fortunately, I did not hear of any. I don't think there were many RVs there because they got hit really hard.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Roof knocked off their tower. They have a big covered area.
And that cover the red iron pavilion,
right?
And that was one of my favorite things about that track. Or one thing I liked, it was like, man, that'd be nice just to have a huge pavilion,
pavilion with a big.
And I guess it got blown down.
The roof fell, and they parked
all the stuff under it.
4-wheeler ATVs and golf carts under it were underneath it. Just a really unfortunate situation there. It took a hard hit, a lot of damage. I think it was either Saturday evening or Sunday evening. And you can tell the post was from JJ. He posted, kind of how devastating it was and how, brutal for him personally.
Well, I know they had been investing a lot of time and money, a lot of improvements lately, and that a lot of what the damage was to those improvements. But didn't I see where they were fed 800 people?
They
or something.
So, and if you know them, the staff there, JJ and staff, they are just great people and true to their personality and what you know of them. They opened up because the only building that wasn't affected was the concessions, and they opened up the concessions feeding people because as we talked about, there's shortages
well, and then
everything.
The crazy thing with a hurricane is you have a lot of people with a lot of meat that needs to be cooked when you don't have power.
You don't have power, so your freezers become not frozen, and everything in the freezer needs to be cooked or
thrown out in just a minute.
We've been through that, but yeah. So you hate to see the damage they took. But it's awesome to see what they're doing with their community, and being a part of the recovery and
absolutely
making sure the community is taken care of. So I'm not sure. In his post he kind of just said racing's canceled for notice. And who knows? Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But at the same time, they're dealing with a lot more than just the racetrack, right? And
and then the whole community around them, that's their fans, their racers are also in. Some of them in a even worse or similar situation with damage, and that's the way it was with us. Like when Ivan came through in September of 2004, just like no one was worried about racing after that.
Racing took a back seat.
Like no one even know the season was just over.
I think it was done. We didn't race again until the next year. And because not only are you impacted, like your homes, your personal stuff could be impacted, but also a lot of in the racing community, a lot of the people
are working in the cleanup. They're out running chainsaws or they're linemen or whatever the case may be.
So it for everybody, it kind of takes a back seat, and we certainly understand. We were in the middle of talking about trying to put some events together for next year. That's what like I said, I talked to JJ before a couple days before the storm hit, and obviously now it's like, all right, y'all, deal with what you got to deal with.
We'll touch base
later,
down the road. Y'all get that.
And if you need anything we can do, let us know type situation. But yeah, so that was unfortunate. I talked to Chance at Needmore Speedway. Obviously, we got our first Speed Weeks events coming up next year in January. Late January there, so it was some concern.
And they got their big season November race, I know.
So he did not, fortunately nothing major there. A lot of rain, some wind, some damage, but nothing that, couldn't be repaired fairly quickly. The question becomes though, how soon can you race? You're, with everything else in the community and other issues.
What about Alltech? I haven't heard anything about
I have not. So I called. I reached out to Wendell at Alltech, and he did call me back, and I didn't. It was yesterday evening, and I didn't get a chance to answer. So I've not talked to him. I haven't seen anything there. So
I haven't seen or heard about it. So I assume hopefully everything.
Yeah.
At least nothing. I heard too bad.
I think is it 441 Speedway in Dublin, Georgia, got hit pretty bad, and I heard Waycross, their tower went down, and have canceled their season. So, like you said, Livonia, surprisingly, not that bad.
Yeah, that was funny. It's like night. We were wondering, I wonder how Livonia did, and I guess you.
I had seen where they said they were racing. Yeah, I think they're racing. So I looked it up, and they had over 100 cars, and they were live when we were watching football when Saturday evening when that idea or thought, and so looked them up on Facebook. Sure enough, they were live. Yeah, whatever was happening there. So, it's.
I think we had a few drivers like it went in Overton without power.
Yeah, I talked to Overton yesterday. Brandon Overton. He's no longer mad at us. We talked.
He's got bigger problems. The hurricane came through.
They were without power. A lot of trees down and stuff. No major issues with the house and all, but his shop got hit pretty hard. Doors blown down. He took some damage on his hauler, but he said he was ready to race this weekend. So and needed to make a run to get supplies anyway, so he could kill two birds with one stone. So
he could bring back take some drums to put gas in, get generator gas in. And maybe they'll have power by then.
Yeah, he said they were hoping to get power back by Saturday, is what he'd been told.
So that would be a full week without power.
Let's see, Zach Mitchell in South Carolina there got hit pretty hard without power. In fact, I believe they were staying in their toter to run the generator. But he was also expecting to be able to race, to get out and go race. I checked on our Florida drivers, Trey Mills and Jackson Highs, talked with their dads, Stanton and Jason. But they sounds like they did nothing too major there. I think it's ironic or crazy to think,
the Florida drivers got through better than the South Carolina and Georgia guys.
In fact, they're all, obviously thoughtful of who those have been impacted, but they want to race. So, I think, it's tough. Like, part of me was like, man, should we really be racing right now? But the other part of me knows that,
Joshua calls me Sunday and is like, I just don't see how we can race at Talladega when, how many guys we got there coming from Florida and Georgia where it's been impacted. And I was like, let's just call them and ask them what they want to do.
I was worried that,
I was like, calm down, because you're seeing all the damage and all, and it's like, just calm. And I feel like people don't want to just sit there and be focused on the fact they don't have power.
Right.
They want to, I think, try to get back to some normalcy, and racing provides that.
Definitely an escape a little bit from the situation you're dealt with. Josh Henry, didn't mention him. He's in the East Tennessee. Yeah. He, I haven't heard. I know they were not at home. They were in Myrtle Beach on vacation. So they're fine. They're safe. I have not heard how I need to call him actually and find out how he was impacted or the status report since they got back home. So. And hopefully they were able to make it back home.
With all that being said, we're full steam ahead for Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series and Crate Racing USA Series at Talladega this weekend.
And certainly mindful, and again, thinking of all those who were impacted.
Right, absolutely.
And praying for the best.